write this down.
So that's
Got it. Yeah.
not Bob. Yeah, 6 million.
I'd like to call to order the October 8th, 2025 City Council meeting. The first item is taking the roll.
Bozen,
Here.
Simonson,
Here.
Voss,
Here.
Coleman,
Here.
Westergaard. Here. Mandelbaum,
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
We have a quorum.
The next item is approving the agenda as presented and/or as amended. And tonight, number 5 has been updated, added council communication number 25-375.
Move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
7 yes.
Motion carries. The next item would be item 3. It's the directing the sale of the general obligation bonds, Series 2025A.
I'll move approval, unless there's a discussion.
I'll second.
Did you want to talk about the rates that we were able to achieve?
I figured you might.
Yeah, I wanted to have on the record.
Not that we were.
For the record,
Yes.
tell them what a good job you did, Nick, today. And your partners down here.
Honorable Mayor and council members, Nick Shaw, Finance Director. Before you actually have a memo from myself, the Finance Department, as well as the results from the sale that came from PFM as well. I won't take up too much of the time, but there is a lot of work that kind of went into this, and then also want to commend you guys the willingness on coming in on Wednesday as well. For a bond sale. We were the largest sale in the U.S. today, so that was kind of gave us a little bit good on our responses. We did have 16 bids come in on our A's and 4 on our B. B was a much smaller issuance, but it was off by our record by one. I think one bid. Last year we had 17.
Tell everybody that, Nick.
But we were able to kind of be able to do get a lot of interest across the entire nation, with it being on Wednesday as well. And I'm not going to go into that detail. I'll let our consultant from PFM, John Burmeister, come up and talk more about the numbers. But you have the memo for me because honestly, there's a lot of help throughout our entire finance department, legal department, and our consultants. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, John Burmeister with PFM. As Nick alluded, we did solicit proposals from underwriters. I wanted to go through here with you the results of the sale. Nick mentioned that there were 16 bids, one off from our record last year. Usually we get in a good sale 10 bids, so the fact that you're getting 16, 17 bids is really indicative of you selling today. You were like the only focus in the Midwest from all the underwriters. In fact, if you roll through the results of sale, if you want to flip to the very last page, I think this is indicative of where the interest you're getting. You can see Robert W. Baird bid here with an army of underwriters. And if you look at the different locations of all these underwriters, you can see they're coming from Wisconsin, New Jersey, Colorado, Arkansas, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, Oklahoma, New York, Alabama, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Utah. So you're pulling in underwriters from all over the United States to fight over your bonds. With the 16 bids, you can see Piper Jaffray came in with a low TIC of a 3.6984%. Last year was a 3.45, so slightly higher than last year. And then one note, when you make your motion, we did change the par amount from $69,980,000 down to $66,880,000. So that will be reflective. There was a premium on the bonds, so we were able to decrease the par amount of the bonds that we sold. Let's see, and there's actually 59 different underwriters that totaled up into these 16 bids, so we're pretty pleased with that. The B series, as Nick mentioned, we had 4 bids. Northland Securities, they came in at a low of 3.83, similar to what you received last year. We kept this par amount the same as what we had when we went out and bid. And then you can see on the last page that Robert W. Baird came with their underwriter as well. So there's actually 43 underwriters fighting over your $6 million bond issue. And this series is taxable, so you can see that that's a 5-year term, but it has a 383. The other term is a 20-year term with a 369. And then we are doing that asset match where we have a 5-year bucket, a 10-year bucket, a 15-year, and 20. So you're amortizing these bonds very aggressively. In fact, 10% of this $60 million deal is paid off in the first year. And just because of the TIF and the debt service levy. So you're actually paying it off even faster than the 5, 10, and 15 years. And that's indicative of just the finances that you've been able to reserve. And last but not least, they did confirm your AA plus rating. So can keep up the good work. That's one notch from a AAA. And I just wanted to read for you one of the statements here. The city's strong financial performance, that's with you doing all of your budget. Robust financial management. And you're contributing to healthy reserves. You have strong liquidity. And they recognize your role as the anchor of the capital as well as the state of Iowa in the metro area. You just have that marquee status of who you are. And so that'll open up to any questions that you might have on all of the bids. And if there aren't any, then you can just go ahead and.
I think members of the media wanted you to repeat that statement that you read off the.
Yeah, they can get a copy of this. It's we're basically the messenger of the good work that you've been doing, and the fact that AA is a very strong rating, AA plus. It's one notch from a AAA. So keep up the good work, because that is another reason, as well as the Wednesdays, why everybody's fighting over your bonds. It's a good investment for fixed income folks that are looking for a strong investment for their retirement portfolios.
I should know this, but over the last 10 years or so, how has our rating fluctuated? Do you know?
It's been pretty stable in the AA range. It's been pretty stable. Yeah. Yep.
Last 10 years, it's been AA plus.
Yeah. It's been very stable. I can't even remember. Do you remember any, Scott? I don't remember.
You'd have to go back more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And we used to have 2 ratings and didn't need
Yeah,
2.
and even the Moody's is a AA plus, but because of the AA2, because the S&P is higher, we chose to use the S&P rating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could you remind us what projects, or maybe this is for Nick, what projects are in the $6 million plus?
You got that on top of your head?
On the B series, the $6 million is the NFC and DC, Principal Park, and property improvement are within that $6 million ones. Those are the taxable components that they've gotten to a dollar amount that we didn't want to merge that with the A, because you get certain percentages that can be for taxable purposes, but it just made sense to be able to break that out. So
Excellent.
Thank you, Nick.
Can you make any statement or observation, either one of you, about the council and the manager's commitment to do this on a Wednesday as opposed to a Monday? Was it lucrative again for us?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that you're hitting a record number of bidders today is indicative of the Wednesday. If you look at the bidding cycle, most cities meet on Mondays. Or Tuesday. So if you look at the calendar, you'll have a list this long of everybody in the United States with their councils meeting on Mondays. If you look on Wednesdays, there's fewer people that are meeting, having their normal council meetings or board meetings on a Wednesday. So it's probably half. And in your case on Wednesdays, if you look at a Monday, you could be fighting 5 to 10 other really strong credits that now you have to have those underwriters pick and choose what they're bidding, because they can only bid so many at the same time. So going on to a Wednesday and being the only game in town, I think is indicative of the bids that you're getting from. I mean, this is second highest. We had 17 last year, 16. This is kind of unprecedented, the number of bids that we've gotten. And so that's, I think, you being the large size, the today's on a Wednesday, and then the interest rates were down a little bit today, so it's a strong municipal bond market. So it's basically paying off for you.
Mayor, if I could just add real quick, I also want to go on the record, appreciate all the work, both from Nick and the finance, but also PFM and our legal assistants as well. But there's an awful lot of challenges that creep up in the conversations. Obviously, there are some challenges with credit and whatnot, some of the demographics and things like that. And so this is why we have PFM, to help us address and educate S&P and potentially the market with the POS, the big document that goes out that explains the finances of the city each year. It's incredibly important to be able to explain how you're handling the different challenges, as well as hitting the mark with general management high points. So I really appreciate the work and the experience that PFM brings to the table to keep consistently delivering great interest rates and saving the taxpayers of Des Moines in that process. So thank you.
I think it's been moved and seconded, and I too, on behalf of the council, thank you, PFM, legal, Scott and his finance team, Nick. When you see all these documents, I know it's a lot of work, and we appreciate the extra work, and by coming in at 4:30 on Wednesday, obviously shows that it was worth it. So it's been moved and seconded. I would say, please vote.
7 yes.
Motion carries. The next item is number 4, directing sale of taxable general obligation bonds, Series 2025B.
Move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I think we've already gone through the discussion. Do you have any other questions? If not, please vote.
7 yes.
Motion carries. The next item is item number 5. It's the second consideration of the ordinance amending Section 102-410 regarding offense and fine related to prohibited camping. Council Communication number 25-375.
Move.
I'll move. I'll second. I would like to, I think you recognized at the beginning of the meeting the council communication that's a part of it. I think it's really important that we continue to underscore the good work that's happening in the safety net. And it identifies some of the things that were on our agenda last time, including Central Iowa Shelter of Services, who I think is here. There, yeah. We appreciate it, and I don't think we got a chance to thank you directly last time, but we need to continue to build the safety net, and we continue to need to be persuasive in our perspective that we want people to get and use the help that's offered in this community.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
But, I'd like an opportunity. I still have concerns, and I've subsequently had an opportunity to check into, at least in theory, what the concern was, at least that I heard at council table, which is the potential liability issue, which actually the fact that we have taken the action we did at the last meeting and now have a contract with CIS that should, in many cases, provide availability of shelter. I actually think that reduces the risk of liability if you look at the cases and the affirmative defenses. So I continue to believe that this is an unnecessary step. And if we are concerned about liability for our officers, I think we can draft language, and I've been working on that and trying to share it with stakeholders, draft language that would address that concern so that this ordinance doesn't need to be more punitive than it already is. And I hope we can make those changes, and if we can find language that maybe addresses the concerns of stakeholders, that this body will be open to that amended language in the future, because I intend to keep working on language that will address concerns, at least the concerns I've heard to date, while not, in my mind, making what I was concerned with as a punitive ordinance more punitive.
Mayor, I have a question of Jeff. Jeff, when we met in Connie's office or the conference room prior to the last meeting where we had the first hearing, you indicated that, excuse me, you thought we could perhaps modify the language to be agreeable to all parties. And I haven't heard anything. I'm apt to vote no because I'd like to see if there's an opportunity to change language.
Without getting into the confidential communication that we had, I don't recall that being the discussion that we had. I don't think that was.
Well, I walked out very hopeful.
I think there's clear, that's not to say that no language could make an improvement. Didn't want to give anybody that impression, but that was not the sum and substance of what I understood. And I'll be happy to visit with you more about what our concerns and conversations were.
Yeah, and I would second that, that there's always ways to tweak the language and possibly improve it from one party to the next. I would tell you to eliminate the confusion, it needs to be stricken.
I think that's the biggest issue, is the confusion that's being brought on.
It's-
It's really tweaking what we thought we were already doing, and so there is no confusion that we want people to get the help. We want to get people off streets. We've put numerous measures in place to take care of people. And
doubt.
some of the issues that we're having now, and I think a lot of us, we get the emails, have only shown that we need to be able to get people to the help and not have some of the incidents we're having. So with that, it's been moved and seconded.
I'd just say it was just very clear that I felt like what we've got from you, Jeff, as far as it was just a memo, and you said the cleanest way was to strike it. And so that's the advice that I'm going off of. That's the advice that we've gotten at this table from our attorney, and I'm gonna take that, and we're gonna move forward on that. Obviously, our goal is to get people off the street and get them into the services that we're providing. That's what we need to do. Morally, everyone sitting up here, that's what we need to do. That's what all of us want to do. It's not about a $15 fine. It's not about ticketing someone. It's not about criminalizing this. This is about helping the people that we need to help in our community. And we can't solve it, all of it, but we can't have our officers feeling like they're liable for a few words that we put into an ordinance. So
We absolutely have the momentum. We're doing all of the right things.
we're sure trying.
The weather issue was related, which was the urgency of our last meeting, was related to CIS, and that's been solved.
But there's still some action of people that aren't adhering to the rules. We have some illegal behavior that's going on. And people should be able to walk in our city. They should be able to go in the parks. And you've all seen the pictures that have been sent out. And I think that that's what we also have an obligation to the people of our community. We are helping people, but we also have an obligation to make sure they feel safe. And there's some incidences that have come up. And I think that we just need to, like we said, the cleanest thing, based on the opinion, was to strike it. And so we have the opportunity to vote on it now, and it's been moved and seconded, so.
I do have a question for the attorney about, since you raised some of the things that have come up and we saw pictures, I mean, when folks are sleeping in our parks after hours, that's a violation of separate ordinances than this one, correct?
My understanding, yes, sir.
Yeah, so that would be a violation, regardless of what we do here, that's still a violation of ordinance that can be enforced, right?
With respect to the parks in
Yeah.
particular?
Yep.
The park property, yes, that's different than the right-of-way.
Yeah. I wanted to clarify that because that was part of what was sent around in between the meetings. I also saw pictures when someone does property damage, that is a separate violation. If someone is vandalizing property, that's a separate violation that we can enforce on for vandalization of property, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded. I would just ask people to vote.
5 yes, 2 no, motion passes.
Okay, with that,
Motion to adjourn, Your Honor.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned.